I just started a business. I don't even have money to pay myself. And you want me to hire a chief operating officer, a COO? You are out of your mind. Or am I?
I have a dream, that's all I need. I'll make it happen with some work and belief.
Hello everyone, welcome to Crosswinds Pilot. For those of you who are new here, my name is Dirk Leifert. We talk about structure, creativity and purpose for your business. And actually last week we also spoke about designing your life. And actually there were two main things that I wanted to take away from that and reiterate today. Because yes, there's values, you have to have financial security, but the two cornerstones, the two pillars in that house were the skills and the ability to execute and apply those skills. And actually today's video is about the latter one, the execution, the application of those skills. We talk about 4 different reasons why you may want to hire a chief operating officer. And at the end, a top tip, so please stick around for the top tip of why maybe that idea isn't as crazy as it sounded at the beginning. So let's get right into it. Number 1, the executor. If you think about it, in most organizations you have a chief executive officer and they manage a lot of the external relationships and the external activities. And then you need somebody who looks internally into the operations, who makes sure that the things, the ideas that you have are executed. And it's one of the reasons why maybe it might be a good idea to hire a chief operating officer. So that's not always the case. Take a company, for example, like Apple. Steve Jobs was very much focused on what's going on inside the company. And then his, at the time, chief operating officer was focused on running the rest of the business. So it can happen the other way around, but ultimately you need someone to take responsibility that all those ideas are actually executed, are actually put into plans, put into action within your company. And again, wait around for the top tip at the end, who such a person could be. Number 2, the change agent. So who is going to implement things in your company? Maybe you have a new idea. Again, very likely if you're an entrepreneur, you have many good ideas. So you need somebody who actually affects change in your company to actually grow with your ideas. So who is implement that? Is that you, or is your time maybe more valuable in other parts of the business? Again, one of a good reason to actually hire a chief operating officer, because the skill set is mostly that they are very experienced with change. They are always there to take an idea and bring it to implementation. Number 3, the successor. So maybe at some stage you want to do something else. You want to move on, you have another idea, you build another company, or you retire and do something completely different with your life. And if you had found that chief operating officer with a complementary skill set, where you made strategic decisions together, where you determined where's the company going, then that person becomes your very apparent heir, a very apparent successor for your company. Because maybe you don't want the company just for you, you want to build a legacy. So take the time, hire a COO, speak to someone who actually supports your values and who wants to take the business in the same direction as you do. And number 4, your partner or a partner in crime. Remember the example of Apple and Steve Jobs and Tom Cook? So they had complementary skill sets. Now think about yourself. Maybe you are an introvert. So having somebody who brings an extroverted skill set to your business or even into your life may benefit you. Maybe you are a numbers person and you need somebody who is more able to sell some of your products. Maybe you are very good at structuring things, but you need somebody who is creative, or it's the other way around. So when you go and look for that chief operating officer, if you want to actually hire somebody who makes a difference in your life, a difference in your company, then look for that complementary skill set and shy away from all the people who are just like you. So we covered 4 aspects, 4 good reasons why it's a good idea to hire a chief operating officer. We talked about the executor, the change agent, the successor, and the partner. And so now, as promised, here is the top tip, because as we said at the beginning, maybe you just started your business. Maybe you don't have money to even pay yourself, and it sounds like such a crazy idea. Well, then let me ask you this. Do you know somebody who has a very different skill set from you? Maybe you look around in your circle of friends, you look around in your family. Maybe you speak to your spouse. Maybe you have a sparring partner or a mentor somewhere. Those are all people who may not fall into that official category of a chief operating officer, but they fulfill the purpose of what we explained in this video. If you find people in your life who can actually add those things into your business, then maybe there isn't a need to hire as such a chief operating officer, but you know that there are actually chief operating officers helping you out, running the business, setting the strategic direction, and making sure that your ideas get implemented in the business. And maybe just one final item on this. There is also always the opportunity to take some of the things that you do and outsource them, give them away. You know, there are many websites today where you can even hire a virtual assistant. And I would argue the same applies for those virtual assistants. Look for somebody who has a complementary skill set, who does things that you don't do, who thinks in a way that you don't do, but who supports your values. In just a minute, I give you 2 recommendations for a couple of other videos that you might find useful, that are very complementary to this video. But before we get there, if you do like the video, please hit the like button. That helps the channel tremendously. Also subscribe to the channel if you want to hear more about this kind of content. And again, I will look forward to your participation and your comments below as well. Now, as promised, the 2 videos that may be very useful for you is one of them, which we looked at last week. We looked at how to design your life. And every business also starts with you as a person. So you might find that interesting. And the other part that you might find interesting is about how to lead people. I linked that here and in the description as well, and it'll help you if you actually go out and hire physically a chief operating officer to set the scene right and make sure not only that you have a great relationship, but that you also give your employee, that chief operating officer, the freedom to do what they do best. In the meantime, I will see you very soon. Thanks for watching.